Welcome to Friday Forums. We are going to do something special today. We have a sponsor that sent us all these wonderful onions. Look at the onions. It's crispy onions. So I sent some over to Mark to have you check it out and see what else you could put it in. Mark, I see
Hi,
you
how
waiting
you doing?
there.
Yeah, excellent. I've got all kinds of goodies here. I dreamed up a little bit to try and find some interesting ways to incorporate onions in recipes and things that I have. And my first attack was this guy over here, one of the favorites of the neighborhood right now, and it is an onion and herb tomato bread.
Oh,
So
yummy.
this is
Can
a
you hold it closer to the camera to show us?
sure, yeah. Let me bring this up here. See, there we go. So you can see a nice. And we can cut some of these open if we want to too. Right? You
Yeah.
can see all the
So how
speckles
much
of the onions
onions and how
throughout.
much tomato do you put in there?
And to make two loaves, there's 70 grams of tomato paste, and there is 100 grams of onions.
Okay,
And the onions hydrate well in the dough.
good.
I did try to see if it was necessary to prehydrate them, and I just found that it just made the dough messy. This way, they stay more whole. They preserve the integrity a little bit more, and it's a wonderful flavor because the herbs and spices is together with the onions is powdered garlic, basil, thyme, oregano, and a little bit of
Nice.
parsley for color. And it's just wonderful, right?
And the nice thing about this crispy onions when you use it that way is you can actually see the onions, right? Like if you were to
Yes,
use like fresh
and
onions or onion flakes, you can't even see the particulates in there.
yes, and the beauty is that they are so nice and evenly fried or toasted, if you will.
Yeah.
So you already have the best of the flavor being brought out. So, like, to caramelize onions is a slow and long process if you're going to do this like on a stove or something to get that brownness. And then it's never this even. There's always going to be
I
burnt
know.
bits
I'm
that
very surprised
um,
at how consistently even their quality is across the entire package. A
mhm.
lot of onions that you see on the market, you see dark, burn,
Yeah,
uh,
these are really nice. Yeah,
these are
and
really
they're
golden
even.
brown.
I'll tell you, I'll be honest. They're even great as a snack with beer. So I found
I
myself
put it in all
nibbling
my
on them as well.
soups.
But yeah, they're wonderful flavor. They're very flavorful the way they blend throughout. And so before I cut them open, I'll go through what we've made here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so then another one that I tried over here with a focus on onion again is this is a roasted potato and onion. So our onions are already roasted for us, nice and even golden brown. So there's nothing to do there. So I just roasted some russet potatoes or Yukon Gold, something that's a firm potato that will hold its shape, together with some mushrooms and either rosemary or thyme. I use thyme in this one today. And so you roast that up and you make a levain and dough processing and everything. And this is a 25% rye sourdough. So this is like a short mature levain that is about 25% rye flour, and then everything else incorporated and makes for a beautiful, slightly dense, very moist type of slice of bread. And
I
there
love
again, the
it.
onions with all of the thyme and everything is beautiful, right?
Wow.
And so I wanted to make some bagels. So then I thought I got to make an onion bagel. So, well, I decided to go multi-grain with the onion bagel. And this is by the way, this is the roasted potato one, right? So you can see how you
It's a
can see the
little dark,
chunks
isn't
of
it?
potato and the onion.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
that's nice.
and it's darker because of the rye flour, right, as
Oh,
well.
I see. Okay, got it.
Um, And so then here I did the bagels with and without onions. So here's the bagel without the onion. And I boiled them in a solution with a small amount of
The
sodium
multigrain?
carbonate. Pardon me?
Is that whole grain?
It's whole grain, yes, yeah.
Okay.
So it's a multigrain. It's cracked wheat, cracked rye, whole wheat flour, bread flour, and bran, and also oats, rolled oats, and then the onions and garlic added in. I just added
Nice.
onions and powdered garlic, so nice fun. Here, I hydrated the onions 1 to 1 with water and dressed them on top of the bagel, and they adhered fairly good, and they didn't
Nice.
burn. Because I did try them on something without hydrating, and they promptly all burnt. So that they do need to be hydrated for dressing, right?
Yeah,
Um,
that's a
and then
great
the
tip.
last item here, this was kind of fun. Is I did a this is a crumpet. I'm not sure how popular these are in your part of the region of the U.S.,
We don't
but
have crumpets.
in Canada, crumpets are really popular. These are like little baby crumpets, right? Usually they're a bit bigger. These are about 3 inches in diameter.
So do you
And
cut them in half and eat it, or just
no, you
leave
just
it like
toast
that?
them in butter, right? And so these
Oh,
have onion and a little bit of parsley for color in it. So it could be like an onion and chive. I didn't have the chives handy, so but this is something you just these are baked in a griddle. So these are not baked in an oven. These are inside rings on a griddle, and you cook them till they rise up like a pancake and bubble, and then just flip them over once briefly, so you can see they get pretty brown on the bottom.
mhm.
Because I use milk in my crumpets, so that I get a fair bit of browning that way. And they've been a favorite of mine since I was a kid. And this is, I mean, as a kid, we always had them with jam, of course, but this would be nice, like a sort of like a savory afternoon snack with some prosciutto or cheese, or this is just would
Interesting.
be, and they're soft and moist and chewy, and so they're really nice. Right? Um,
So, are you gonna be putting all these mouth-watering recipes on the forum?
Yes, yes. I put them together. What I use is I put things together in an Excel spreadsheet, and I'll just show you the paper version here a little bit.
Mhm.
And So it makes it very easy to change the batch sizes. So that if, like for this, for the onion and tomato herb bread, I have here that's based on a 570-gram loaf. And so if you want to make four, the same loaf size, and wanted to make 4 or 6 or 8 or 100, you just change that number into the yield, and then it'll calculate everything for you. It
Awesome.
provides you the baker's percent, it provides you the formula percent, and I always leave a column here that I call RPD test, right? So this is when, if I'm start off with this recipe, and along the way I make up observations that I want to change, I write them in here. So this is my paper working sheet, and then I'll take these numbers back to the computer and do a copy of this sheet and enter it in, so that I always have a record of everything that I changed. Like earlier on the seminar, we got to listen in with Abel and Schaefer. You only want to change one thing at a time, so you don't get confused as to what has made the most impact, right? And so this helps you keep track of those changes,
Awesome.
because if you've made change A and think good results, and change B and good results, and now change C, the results are not quite the same. Then you can backtrack and see, okay, well, how about C without A? And then you can see better what is really cause and effect of different things, right?
I
Um,
think you really need to hold a class on product development.
I'd love to. Would be fun. We'll have to plan to put something
Yeah.
together.
So yeah, we are going to place these recipes up on the forum page, and
Yep.
so that you can get access to them. So, and we are going to place Roger's name onto the forum page as well, so that you can contact him directly for these top taste
Yes.
onions. It'll be awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Cutting time.
And I made a new friend in the neighborhood here just recently, and he is originally long ago from the Netherlands, and he is familiar with these. So these are a known product in the Netherlands, and so he got to enjoy one of the tomato loaves that I was testing. And I've also shared the recipe with him. He's not a baker; he's a baker by fun at home. He's actually a trucker, so it's a little bit different. But should we cut these open to just have a quick look inside before we go?
I want to see what it looked like inside.
Okay. So let me start with the tomato bread. I'm just going to cut right down the middle here. And so we could see this nice, you could see all the herbs and everything in there.
You gotta come a little closer.
You can see the onions.
Yeah, I can see some onions, but I don't see the tomato. Is it because it's just like an orangey hue?
Yes, the tomato is a paste. It's just tomato.
So no particulates in tomatoes.
Paprika for the color. Now, you could use sun-dried tomatoes to get more tomato chunks.
Right.
That would be
but
another
I really
option.
don't see the onion chunks in there too. Are they there? Just not visible.
They're there. So this is onion here and there and there.
Oh, okay, I got it.
So the onion is a light golden color because it hydrates from the dough a little bit, right? And then there's a piece of herb.
Yeah, my suggestion is to really take a picture of the cross section when you post a recipe, so that we could take a look at it too.
And
yeah,
usually the crumpets are just eaten whole, but I'll just slice it open. So there again, you could see the distribution. All this mottled brown, those are your onions.
Wow, that's really nice.
Good distribution, and those onions, so they mix in really nicely. They don't sink to the bottom. Nice. They don't clump together. It's so that's a nice part of all of that.
And did you prehydrate the onions before you use it in this application?
No, I did not. No.
Okay, good.
I did try one batch with the tomato bread when I first started, and I just found that it just made the dough too wet and slippy, and it was too much to adjust. So thinking about, in terms of, especially if if you look at putting this into a commercial bakery, that we want ease of use is important, right? So we want to be able to say, okay, just add this to your recipe. You don't have to hydrate. Just give it a short hydration time. I allow the gluten to hydrate for 20 minutes. But that's just for mixing because I'm mixing in a home mixer. But they hydrate very well within the dough. I was a little fearful that they would, I will say, because these onions are fried, they have a lot of fat to them. And it is palm. So I thought that, well, the palm is going to create a barrier and not allow the water to absorb. But it did not. It did really well, right? And so this is our potato, mushroom, and onion. And
so yummy.
So here you could see the dark bits are the
I can see the onions better in this.
Yeah, you can see the onions really because they don't blend in as well as the orange bread does, right? And you could see chunks of potato as well. So this came out really good. Right?
Yeah, awesome.
And then lastly, we'll cut open the bagels. Come out nice and crunchy, and a nice color crust. I boil my bagels in a solution of sodium carbonate. So I take sodium bicarbonate. I take the baking soda and bake it in the oven at 200 for an hour. And this basically changes it from a bicarbonate to a carbonate, and it becomes a lye. It's like a weak lye.
Nice.
And so there you could see the onions. Well, even amongst all those
onions are really nice. Yeah.
Onions, right? And like this is where we need smell-o-vision. It's like garlic and onion. It's just like.
You're making me hungry already.
Yeah, it's lunchtime there. Yeah, I'm getting ready for dinner.
Well, thank you for making all this and giving us ideas on how to use crispy onions in baked products. You
Yeah,
know,
I'm still going to as I get the opportunity. I'm also going to tackle some crackers. I'd like to see how
yeah,
this works in a nice thin
I've tried
cracker.
the crackers
Um,
before and they were heavenly.
and I got this cool idea just from scanning other things on the internet. So, and I was watching a guy make puff pastry. And so
Ooh,
then I thought to myself, oh, this would be neat. So I'm going to try making a puff pastry where I'm going to put the onions in the puff dough and I'm going to mix the onions into the laminating butter as well.
ooh,
And
that's a
so
great
that should
idea.
leave little pieces of onion in between the layers and everything
Oh, I
too.
think
So
that's a fabulous
so
idea.
that's that then and then that was some Parmesan or something. You can make all kinds of cool
Or like a
stuff, right? Lots of
savory feeling,
nice
you
savory
know?
snacks. Yeah.
Yeah, like a cream cheese feeling. That'll be
Hmm.
awesome.
Hmm.
I want the recipe for that.
I'll get it worked out. Just give me a week or two. It's
All
just
right, no problem. Yeah, so anything happening over the forum?
The main thing that's been continuing right now is just the conversation on lecithin and emulsifiers and understanding how lecithins function and the differences between egg yolk, which has, of course, not just lecithin but also fat and other components that function, and as far as the aeration goes. So. Um, Lecithin provides mostly the emulsion between the fat and water, the blending of whether it be oil or shortening or butter in your cake mixers or things like that, and some aeration. The main part of the aeration with the egg happens from the egg albumin, the protein that can basically hold all of these air bubbles. So it's not emulsion in the sense of water and oil, but people think of it as an emulsion because it is aeration, right? Because it's foaming and things like that. So it's a different functionality altogether. So when replacing eggs for vegan applications, lecithin is not a simple one and done drop in. There's more that has to be done. The protein has to be replaced and other functionalities and the thickening as well.
Mhm.
For example, wheat protein isolate does a great job of whipping, but it has no structure. It doesn't bind when you put it into the oven and everything collapses. So
That's
then you need some kind of a gum, like a xanthan gum, for example, which under shear becomes more liquid. And then as you stop the shear, you stop the mixing, it starts to set up some more. And that may help hold on to that foam in the oven till the starches can set around it. So that's the uniqueness about the egg. It sets before the starch does. So it helps bind it.
yeah. Oh, so we have a short exercise in emulsifiers today. So I hope you
Oh,
enjoy.
yeah, yeah. No, that's the conversation that's going on in the forum, and
That's
would
awesome.
love to, people who have more experience and knowledge with that, please come in and share. Let us know what we're missing or
Right.
what else we can do with this.
Yeah,
I
and we're
mean,
going to address more on our Tuesdays, 10 at 10, to have people, go to the forums if we don't answer their questions
yeah,
thoroughly.
like with that type of conversation, I'd love to see more of what people who have experience with aquafaba, how that is working for them, because that is another egg-like replacement where it's the water from canned chickpeas can be
Yeah.
whipped.
Yeah,
Um,
I've
and
heard the last time I heard was an update from New Zealand that they're in the
mhm.
process of commercializing that.
Yes, it's
And
been difficult finding a commercial source. Yeah.
it is because it's such a byproduct of that process, right? A lot of
Yeah,
manufacturers
and
don't find any kind of profits in that. So this
yeah.
particular researcher had a lot of problems just to commercialize it and make it profitable for anyone. So
Yes, yeah. I mean, the the aquafaba movement, if you want to call it that, is something that was discovered through, as I said, through the water that's in the chickpeas. And we looked at chickpeas, or I did some work on looking at chickpeas, navy beans, black beans, and all kinds of things. And chickpea was the one, for whatever reason, it whips the best. And it's got something to do with the retort process that leaches the protein into the liquid. Because while I was working at ADM processes a lot of beans as well, navy beans, etc. But we took the liquid from the jet cooking process, and there's not enough protein in it. It won't whip. So there's something unique about it. I'd love to hear more from people who have experience with that. And if they have sources, like you said, with the New Zealand coming on, would be great to see that shared in the forum.
Yeah. I would probably bring you on to that session and have you ask those questions.
Absolutely. Would love to. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for coming on today, Mark.
My pleasure. Thank you.